What's up, guys? We are in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm here with my man, Albert Hughes.
What's up, Brandon?
Another podcast. It's a rainy day, so don't mind the rain outside if you hear it. Genesis Jiu-Jitsu is a school in Fort Worth. I've known Albert probably since like 2008 or something like that, from when I first moved to Texas. Anyways, lots of good things going on, lots to talk about. Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to be here.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear some of the episodes you've already done. You've already had some good guests.
Yes.
Carlos, especially.
Carlos Machado, Chris Brennan,
Oh, dude.
Johnny Bedford, Bruno Mendez from Soul Fighters, Renato Tavares. I know I'm forgetting some there.
Well, man, thanks for coming to talk to me.
Yeah,
That's
for
a
sure.
solid roster.
For sure, yeah, for sure. Well, that's something fun I'm trying to actually do with this is, Renato Tavares, I did it with TJ Tomlin up in Oklahoma City when I was traveling with the AGF. This isn't really a podcast about AGF. You know, we already know how cool the tournament is. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's cool.
No. But, it's to give exposure to other people. I've seen the other podcasts, and I just thought, I know a lot of cool people. I can do this, you know? And so I wanted to get content here in DFW as well from a lot of like the heads that have good competition teams and created good students and nice people. And also wanted to, I do this now when I start traveling. Yeah. So, I go run AGF New Jersey. I'm going to hit people in Jersey, go AGF, Florida, that kind of stuff. So I think I'm really excited about it, actually, So
For sure.
It's gonna open it up and have some good listeners, and it's actually a lot. It's like this week is crazy,
I'm sure it adds a crazy amount of blocks to your schedule.
Yes, for sure, for sure. This week was you, Will Campazano, and Carlos Machado. Next week I'm doing Danny Alvarez and Tanner Hawkinsmith, who's we were talking about earlier, the Texas president of the ALS. So it's a little off of the jiu-jitsu realm, but I would like to do a couple of those too.
Yeah.
I don't think I can get Elon Musk, but but yeah. So to kick it off, tell us a little bit about your journey, how you started.
Yeah. So I was introduced to jiu-jitsu when I was in boot camp in the military, and we had like a little combatives program. I think we did like 2 or 3 days of hand-to-hand training. And they were teaching us jiu-jitsu. They called it jiu-jitsu. They taught us like mount, guard. They taught us an arm bar.
You were in the Army?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
I was too.
Yeah. And I happened to be there with a guy who was like a 4-stripe white belt from Missouri. His name is Charles Hollander. And we're still really good friends. And he was like, showed me some more stuff afterwards. I saw that he was beating up all the guys when we were doing the combatives, even the bigger guys. And I was like, dude, what's up with that? He choked some guy with his legs. He's like, that was called a triangle choke. And
yes.
So that got me super interested, and we both happened to go to Fort Eustis for AIT after boot camp. So he was a Black Hawk mechanic, and I was a Chinook mechanic.
Oh, you're in aviation. Cool.
Yeah. And we stayed in the same room together. We had 4-man dorms there, and we stayed in the same room, and we would train. He would teach me little stuff, and we would train a little bit and wrestle around, and so that's what sparked me to get into it. And then I grew up in Waco. There's no jiu-jitsu in Waco at this time. So when I got back from training, I went on a year deployment to Kuwait. Really no training out there. Kind of a funny, embarrassing story I might share that happened out there. We did a little bit of training, and then got back, and I moved from Waco to Fort Worth for jiu-jitsu. Travis Luter was, a gym. I was more familiar with Fort Worth than Dallas. My mom lived here for a little stint. And so
Hey, Eric, do you mind moving that bag so the door will shut? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so that's how I ended up in Fort Worth, training with Travis Luter, and learned a lot over there. Had some really good training days over there. Was there for 5 years.
You can't pass up on the Kuwait cool story. You mentioned that and then kept going. I thought, what happened in Kuwait?
Man, so I was fiending to train over there. Like, I had been doing jiu-jitsu for basically 4 months with this one dude, Charlie, and had some cool stories there because, Army dudes are going to test you if they start thinking that you're learning some stuff. So I had some...
What year were you in?
It was 2002. 2002 is when I went to boot camp.
Okay. Yeah.
And then 2003 I went to Kuwait. So let me start with the boot camp story. I was over there. We were training every day, and you can imagine what Army dudes are walking in and saying and stuff. They're like, "Oh, you guys like rolling on the ground with each other," and all these gay comments, right? So, one day, finally, this big dude was always talking shit, man. He looked just like a Nebraska football player, just a corn-fed dude, you know. And he was from Nebraska. We used to call him Nebraska. And
funny how everyone gets a state name. I was Hollywood, obviously.
Yeah. So, and I was Texas at times.
Yeah.
For sure. So he was like, you know, said something, talking trash to us, and I said, "Hey, you want to come down and try it?" And he kind of had to say yes because there were so many people around to see the challenge. You know?
Put on the spot.
And so he full on we start standing, he full on football tackles me straight into a guillotine, wrapped the legs around him, choked him. The whole thing lasts like 15 seconds, man. And he gets up and his head's all purple, and I was high for 2 days off of that, dude. I was just like, because before I would have been scared to answer that challenge, you know? I'd have been like, I just kind of don't want it to be on his radar, you know?
Yeah.
With any physical challenge, but I was totally confident to deal with it. So that was a big changer. And then I got humbled in Kuwait. I go over there thinking like, oh, I got this superpower. No one knows jiu-jitsu, you know? And we're there for basically 10 months before we finally get some mats in the weight tent, right? The little weight area. And we got some mats, and this one dude was talking like he knew some stuff, and I was like, whatever, I'm gonna kill this guy. So finally, I begged him to roll with me forever. And he was like, okay. And so we start, and I just go in kind of cocky with my head down, and he fucking snatches up a guillotine, buddy. Next thing you know, I'm waking up, and the mat is like soaking wet right around me, dude.
Oh, no.
Yeah, see, he had some skill to put on a guillotine, but I don't think he realized, like, when I went to sleep, and he held it way too long. You know? So I woke up in a puddle of piss. And, yeah, so it was embarrassing, and then he wouldn't roll with me again. I begged him. I was like, please, dude, let me run that back. And he was just like, no, I almost killed you.
He probably was scared of me,
Yeah.
That is scary.
And it was funny because a lot of people were around. I mean, there's probably 10 or 15 people watching, and, like, nobody was educated enough to see that I was out and, like, to break it up and to get me back conscious.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
Probably motivated you to not let that happen again, though.
Yeah, for sure. I did not like that. It hasn't happened that bad since. I've been choked out since. But, you know, every time I've been choked out, I think I tap. Every single time.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
I was like, I tapped, man. What happened? He's
Well,
like,
the thoughts going through your brain.
yeah. And I think it's a little faint, like, little tap that
Didn't
they
get
can't
there.
feel.
It's the airwave.
And they're just, and I'm giving this little faint touch. So, anyway.
One time I taught a seminar at a school, and the ceiling was painted black, and it said, "Your ass should have tapped." Across the ceiling in big white letters.
I thought about hanging some stuff on the ceiling.
It was definitely cool. That's interesting that you said that. So I actually trained, started as a teenager in the 90s in LA. And so when I got to basic training, I was signed by 99, I was in by 2000. And so I knew a lot more than a 4-stripe white belt in basic. I murdered people.
Nice.
We had the sand pit, you know.
Yes.
I went to basic at Fort Jackson, and I got a little rep from it, you know. And then of course at 18, I'm so cocky.
Oh God.
I'm so cocky, you know. And then like I was humbled when I first started jiu-jitsu. I was choked unconscious by a female. It was a female purple belt. It was very. You can either stick your head in the sand like an ostrich and ignore the fact that there's this power that people have through this knowledge of jiu-jitsu, or you can, you know, be humble and keep training, you know. But when I got to basic, like you said, nobody knew jiu-jitsu. All of a sudden it was like, like I hadn't been in that environment because I'd just been in SoCal my whole life, you know what I mean? And I was the one who sucked, and everyone else was way better than me. And then I got to basic, and I was like, oh, wow, they don't know anything. I actually went against the drill sergeants.
Yes.
I took 3 drill sergeants out one at a time.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And I got pictures from it, like the old 4x6s or whatever, you know?
That's so cool that they accepted that challenge with you.
Well, there was this one dude, because everyone remembers their drill sergeants, you know what I mean? Johns and Hegedus were Hegedus was like a Cav Scout dude. Johns was like, Hegedus was a skinny little white guy. Johns was this yoked, gold teeth, like just southern country boy, you know what I mean? And he was like, oh, that ain't happening to me, boy. He was one of the ego, you know, and I was like, you know, I was like, oh, dang. And you don't want to like swing on a drill sergeant, you know, you feel like you're going to go to prison or something. And so we grappled and I beat him. And it's funny you said that. I triangle choked him.
Yeah.
And I mean, because they're just like hands down when they hit the ground, completely wide open, you know? And yeah, and so then later, after that, because we had a bunch of people and you do the joust.
So did he full on tap out?
Oh yeah, everybody did.
Did he
I
give
probably
you a good
tapped
handshake
out
afterwards? Or
I don't have
kind
an exact number, but I probably tapped out like 10 in a row. Like no joke.
Yeah.
Right? And then they started doing the jousting stuff, football helmets.
For
and
sure.
Right? So they started going into that and they kind of left it alone. But how I got the drill sergeants is they called me out later from the barracks. And 3 of them took me. I thought I was gonna go get, you know,
smoked,
wall-to-wall counseling or something. You know what I'm saying? I get my ass kicked, and they literally were like, "Yo, like, try that on me." You know what I mean? Like
they didn't want to do it in front of everybody.
Correct. They did not want to do it in front of everybody. Yeah, they did not want to do it.
Secret training.
Yes, dude. They wanted it, and I was like, "Wow." Combatives was not implemented quite at that time, right? And it was very new and stuff like that, but that was a trip, yeah. And I do have pictures of me grappling with the other soldiers, but not of the drill sergeants, obviously, right? And that whole phase, but that was definitely an interesting story.
I'm gonna go hood up. It's cold in here, buddy.
Yeah, I know. This is the first episode where I'm not rocking. I'm wearing my hoodie. That was definitely an interesting story. I ended up. You were talking about Kuwait. When I was in Iraq, I invaded Iraq. So like in 2003, I got mats shipped in from MWR. Remember MWR? Like
yeah.
Military
mental welfare, recreation, something like that.
I got mats shipped in Fallujah and in Al Asad Air Base. I had jiu-jitsu classes. I'm still friends with people that are like purple, brown, and black belts, like in Florida, New York, like that are like, I remember taking your class. I just went to my buddy's wedding. He was a Kiowa Warrior pilot. Remember Kiowa, the Little Birds?
Yeah, basically. I remember the Apaches, the Blackhawks, and the Chinooks mostly.
They're the smaller ones. Okay. They're basically like what the cops and the news fly.
Yeah.
Like that kind of one. And but they got like flechette rockets and all that stuff on the side, you know. And I just went to his wedding in August with my fiance and my dad, and he was in my combatives class. He talks about it.
That's awesome.
He was like, But anyways, this ain't about me. It was definitely a familiar story, though. That reminded me. I haven't talked about that in a long time. Anyways, so you went on to the military. That's really interesting. I think I had seen that you were in the military on Facebook before, or some Veterans Day or something like that, probably before. I didn't realize you were a aviation guy. That's cool. Never pursued that outside.
So that's was my plan. I totally planned on coming back here and working for like Bell or Raytheon or something, getting my AMP and being a mechanic. But I have a family that works at Peterbilt in Denton. It's a truck factory, and so I had a real good in there, and they pay well, good job or whatever. So I went and applied there, did some interviews. They called me and offered the job. And it was going to be 40 hours a week. I felt like Dumb and Dumber, like, can't get a decent job without working 40 hours a week. And it was from 12 to 8. I was just like, this is going to kill my training completely. I'll never be able to train, because we didn't have morning classes at Looters at the time. It was lunch and evening, So I turned down the job and I started waiting tables.
Jiu-jitsu's more important.
Oh, man. Yeah. And, that was the best lesson that I learned in Kuwait, man. And I share this with people all the time. I was 19 years old. They're paying me, combat pay, hazard pay. You're not getting taxed on any of it. So I got like $4,000 hitting my bank account every month, tax free.
Yeah,
I don't have to pay rent.
Yeah,
I don't have to pay. I have a car payment, like stacking cash, And I'm just like, dude, I would give every dollar of this back if they just let me go home. And I could just like live my life and do what I want to do, And so I really learned to value my time and my freedom when I was sitting over there in the desert. And so that allowed me, that gave me that mentality to turn down, $50,000, $6,000 a year, whatever, benefits and all that, and just wait tables and do jiu-jitsu.
Were you in Kuwait in like OAF time frame?
I was there 2003 to 2000.
Oh yeah.
I got there May 2003, and I got back May 2004.
Yeah, so it's about the same time frame as me. Because I invaded Iraq. I was invading forces in. I was OIF 1, OEF 1, and so a lot of people went through Kuwait. You know.
Yeah, we were at Camp Udari. I never went up into Kuwait. They asked me if I wanted to plenty of
Iraq,
times. I mean, into Iraq. Yeah, we were
Yeah.
flying supplies mostly.
Yeah.
But I was like, nah, I'm gonna stay here on the ground.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it was buck wild the first year.
Yeah.
Like, God bless everyone that's been over there and all that kind of stuff. But I wholeheartedly believe that everything after 03 was completely different.
Oh yeah.
You know, like
I think it changed a lot when I was there, because my first 2 months there, we were sleeping in like really rugged tents, no AC, nothing like that. You know, eating like whack food. And then we moved, and we had like air conditioned tents, and they were building like hard shell buildings everywhere.
Yeah.
Subway was there by the end of it. Like,
yeah.
Burger King was there. For real.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were like Najaf, Baghdad, when the Saddam statue got pulled down, the airport when that got took over, the Battle of Fallujah, Ramadi, Habaniyah, like the palaces that his sons had, like all that crazy stuff. And I remember I hadn't showered in like literally like 30 something days.
Just
right?
baby wipes.
Baby wipes,
Yeah.
right? And then speaking of the subway, so we went back to, they changed it from Saddam Hussein Airport to Baghdad International Airport. I went back and they had like the PX was there now, and Subway
Yes.
and Burger King. They made it a cover and salute area. We showed up and we're like, what? You have the Bob Hope dining facility? You got what, the internet cafe? I haven't talked to my moms in like 3 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know if I'm alive. Yeah, it was totally different just in the main
It got
cities
developed so fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it
for
was
sure.
crazy.
Yeah, for sure. But I was part of the movement that kept moving out, and so like when I finally went back to like Baghdad, like months later, I was like, wow, this is totally different. It was a trip. It definitely understand you're learning a lesson on what to do with your time. I would not go back. I preach people not to go there.
I know, I've seen, and yeah, that, like I said, I learned my lesson on wanting to have the control of my life right there, and what sacrifices I'd be willing to make. A lot less money if I could just, you know, do what I want with my time, whether it's jiu-jitsu or whatever someone's passion is.
Yeah. So you started training at Looters. Looters got a rep for great jiu-jitsu, and I guess you could, I don't know if he's pioneering MMA, but definitely made waves in the MMA industry. I mean, he was fighting
sure.
Anderson Silva and all that
Yeah.
stuff at the time. Tell me a little about your training and competition or anything. How, you know?
Yeah, man. So I showed up at Looters in like June of 2004, right after I got back, and it was good. You know, that was the first time that I had been a member at a school. I had stopped in at a couple gyms and did like maybe a couple classes, but mostly I'd just been training with my friend, you know, and looking at Grappling magazine and stuff. Before YouTube, you know,
Old
this
school,
is
yeah.
real, yeah. So
I
when I got
don't
there,
think they have that anymore.
really?
I don't think so.
No, it's Jiu-Jitsu magazine. Well, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the same published.
No. That's
thing.
different. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was my first time like having teammates all around me, and when I moved here, I had my aunt lived here, but that was my only kind of connection or whatever, and so I just rented a little 1-bedroom apartment by myself, and then I met some dudes at the gym, and I ended up getting roommates with Chris Westfall and Mike Sorrell. I don't know if you know him. They're two Looter black belts now.
Well, of course we know Chris West.
Yeah, you know Chris working at
He's
AGF.
our head ref and probably our longest employee. Him and his wife.
Yeah. So, yeah, we were all roommates there for a while and just training together. And then, you know, I was training with Tony Tipton a lot, and then we ended up breaking off and opening this gym. But I had good times over there, man. I left. It was just time for me to do my own thing. I knew that I wanted to be my own boss eventually, and it was just time. Yeah.
That must have been did you come up the ranks the exact same time kind of as Chris Westfall?
No, Chris was a purple belt when I showed up.
Oh, he was, okay.
Chris, the first dude over there, mauled me.
Oh, really?
I showed up and I was like, who's this guile-looking motherfucker? Look like
Guile
Guile off
from
Street Fighter.
I tell people, man, like he's had some hair changes. Remember the
Oh,
dreads?
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
he
yeah.
started with it.
Chris is wild, man.
He had a buzz cut.
We did that together, dude. I had a buzz cut forever. Fucking loved it. I would still do it. It doesn't look the best, man, but you don't have to take time out of your day to get a haircut, and you save money. And like, I was feeling it for a couple years. Just me, Mike, and Chris didn't buy a haircut for probably 2 or 3 years when we were living together. And then my wife was like, "You have nice hair. You have to grow your hair." And so that's why I have hair.
That's why I have hair now. I even wear this like rock hard gel. Like
Yes.
even some of the students in my gym are like, "How does your hair stay done while you're rolling?" And I'm like, "Well, first of all, don't let your head get grabbed. Second, wear rock hard gel."
I like never have product in my hair, but I put a little in today just in case we got on camera.
There you go. There you go. Well, I mean, you know how it is, man. Sometimes you can take 3-4 showers a day.
Oh, training
You know?
a lot, yeah.
Training just for me, teaching private
Yeah.
lessons and then morning class, evening class, that kind of stuff. It's like long hair is a pain in the butt.
Oh yeah,
I
dude.
don't know. I got like
imagine.
you know Daniel Trevino.
Yeah.
Like Daniel has like
That- yeah.
super long hair. I'm like I couldn't do that, dude. I mean, looks cool on him, but I just like. And then you know some people with long hair, the girls. I feel so bad for them.
I'm so low maintenance.
Yes, for sure. Me
Can't deal
too.
with it.
So you were training with Chris. He was a purple belt when you first got there.
Yeah.
And man, so he started pretty early then. Chris did.
Yeah, I think he started in 2001 or 9. I don't know.
Yeah.
2000 or something like
Yeah.
that. There's some old videos of him and Travis.
Yeah.
Training together, wearing the old shorts, the first ADCC
Oh yeah.
shorts and stuff. But yeah, I had a good time. I still have a lot of good friends and memories from my days there. And I actually went back since I opened the gym and got to train with Travis and got to train with a lot of my old teammates, and it's all good now. He's actually really into the rock climbing stuff. When he sees me out climbing, he'll ask me a little question. I've invited him to go. I don't know if he's down. A lot of people aren't down for the heights, so.
I skydive. I'm okay with heights. I feel like big dudes though, like over 200 pounds and stuff. I think we struggle. Our grips give out faster.
Yeah, the whole thing is there's levels to it, man. So you're not always climbing on this side of something, on the
Yeah.
back side,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
real, what we call steep. You're climbing on this side that we call slabby, like. So, you know, a lot of times you can even climb without your hands, like walking up a super steep staircase or ladder or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe my grips just suck.
Doubt it, man. Jiu-jitsu guys translate over. You got to try it, but hey, it's not everybody's thing.
I've done like the indoor.
Yeah.
I've done it in Europe and in Dallas and stuff like that.
It's fun, man. It's amazing outside.
So you started that though because you got pretty jacked up somehow, right? Jacked up your back?
Yes, exactly. Just over time, man. Like, I got my black belt in 2011, and then I was competing. I feel like I was hitting a pretty good stride. I got third at Masters Worlds and won some local stuff or whatever. I feel like I was getting a pretty good stride finally at black belt, because that's rough transition.
Yeah.
Your first few years at black belt for a lot of people, but
Especially as an adult.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't think it's too crazy of a transition at Masters.
Yeah, you might be. Yeah, it's way worse at adult.
Yeah.
way more intense at adult. But I started having like some back issues, and I actually had to pull out of a couple tournaments because of it. And what it was a herniated disc at L5S1. So
Yes. Mine touch. I have to get separated twice a week.
Really?
Yeah.
I just had that herniated disc, and it was bulging out, and it got, you know, it was like to where I was off the mat for a week or two at a time, a few times. And so I always thought it was just getting better by itself, you know? And I got a couple of those injections, those cortisone injections, but it just kept getting worse. And then it was to the points where I could not stand up. Like, I could not extend my back like this. I was always hunched over like this, and like no amount of money could have made me stand up straight, you know? And so I tried to go in for another injection, and I was laying on the table, and I was just like, dude, it's not gonna work. Like, I'd already had 2. I was like, this isn't going to work. I just got to have the surgery. And I was so scared to have the surgery.
What was the surgery?
It was a microdiscectomy is what they call it. So it's a scope. But I watched the surgery before they did it. And I'm glad I did, because I also watched a ton of like testimonials of people after the surgery. It has like a 98% success rate, like super high.
Oh, that's good.
And, you know, people are like, oh, I have my life back afterwards and stuff. So I'm glad I watched all that. But they drill through the bone, your spine. And I was like, nah. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, I'm going to need that
There's
piece
a cord
of my back there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then they move the cord out of the way. And then they see the disc, and they just start plucking all the disc matter that had herniated out, ruptured out. They start plucking that out. And so that took the pressure off my nerve. And I healed right up, dude. And as soon as I woke up from the surgery, I stood straight up and I was like, oh, I'm fixed. I'm good. And I knew I just had to wait for the incision to heal. And so that took like 3 weeks. And I came back and started training again. And I did a couple more competitions. But I felt like it wasn't the same. Like I couldn't have the same. I always had so much hesitation to protect myself. And like I wouldn't take a risk. And like, yeah, like if I had to just use some power to finish a situation, I wouldn't do it, you know? And so, yeah, the doctor told me straight up, he was like, you need to stop doing jiu-jitsu and you need to not lift weights heavy. Like, don't load your spine with anything more than 30 or 40 pounds. And I was like, holy shit, that's
not
much, you know, it's like my kid.
Yeah, I know, right?
I can't put him on my shoulders.
Yeah.
But
I feel that, I'm a dad too.
I fucking hate lifting weights too, man.
Yeah.
So I was like, got a good excuse for that now. Like, I'm never doing a back squat again, ever. And so, but the jiu-jitsu thing, I was like, I'm doing jiu-jitsu. So I kept doing jiu-jitsu. I got hurt again. And for like a week, I was in that similar pain. Not as bad, but I had like a flashback. And I was like, I got to be smarter. So now I'm basically training like on a good week twice. But sometimes it's more like once or twice a month even.
Was it a specific incident that you felt that hurt
No.
your back, or was it just over time or something?
There was a few incidents over time, and honestly, none of them happened on the mat. It was always doing strength and conditioning.
Could
Sometimes
have been ruck marching too.
those things. You know, the first time I ever had it, to where I couldn't stand up straight, I was in the military deadlifting too heavy, just being a fucking goon with a bunch of other goons.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I think I could pick that up.
Been there, done that. Yeah, bad technique and
Bad
everything.
technique. So, hurt myself there, and then didn't have problems for a long time. And then I was doing like a yoke, carrying a yoke, that strongman shit, where you walk across distance with your back just totally loaded
You're
up with as
lanky
much
like
weight.
me. What were you thinking?
I was there with a bunch of goons. Like, what it is, I always work out with people on steroids.
Yeah.
Don't do that shit.
Yeah. Don't work out with weak people.
Fucking A.
That's funny.
It's gonna keep you healthy. It might keep you weak, but it'll keep you healthy, okay? Dude, and I was so naive to the thought of people being on steroids, and people that take steroids don't talk about it.
Yeah.
They're never like, yeah, I'm on some sauce right now.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, I'm feeling fucking strong, man. I've been working out so hard. I've been eating so good. And you're like, God, me too. But anyway.
I ran into way more steroids in the military than I have in jiu-jitsu or
Really?
MMA. Oh, yeah.
I might have too.
Yeah.
I was so naive.
Most people I know now are just on they're on TRT and they're old in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
But
this still ups their performance.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
when you go work out next
They're
to them, you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, doing things I think in the strength and conditioning realm hurt me more than anything, but probably going inverted and trying tornado guard a bunch wasn't great either. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, knowing Chris Westfall very well, the Luder black belt we were talking about, I feel like he's the smallest dude at Luders. Mm-hmm. And you're like his body size and type. You know, you think you got squished a lot over there? You think that was part
I
of it?
certainly got squished a lot over there. That's for damn sure. Yes. Dude, oh my gosh. I remember one day showing up to class, and this dude's a really nice guy. I'm still, friends with him on Facebook, and when we see each other, I like the guy, man. He's a great guy. He played football at TCU. His name is David Breedlove, and when I showed up there, he was a purple belt. So just imagine a motherfucker that played center at TCU, right?
Come here.
Bro, he's like 260 pounds and moves like a panther.
Yeah.
Like, this is insane. And I'm a white belt, 180 pounds, and he mauls me for an hour straight. I'm literally almost crying. I'm so frustrated. I got probably tapped out 40 times or something. And so yeah, I got squished a lot over there.
Yeah.
It was just me and him only. And I'll say this, David, if you ever hear this, why didn't you teach me something, buddy? Like, you fucking smashed me, and you never offered a single word of advice. And so that was kind of the culture back then, I feel like. I don't know, but there was a lot of smashing going on and not a lot of, like, helping.
Yeah.
It was more like, help yourself, like, if you want to get better at this. I'm not going to help you beat me kind of thing.
We were kind of talking about that earlier with, you know, not being shown something.
Yes,
being just wrecked.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
you'll learn, but
and then DVDs start coming out, instructionals start coming out, YouTube starts coming out, and we start studying on our own.
Yeah.
And then we start hitting the coaches with stuff that they haven't seen.
For sure.
That was a good transition too. Hitting a lot of teammates with stuff they haven't seen, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's just information overload.
Oh my gosh, it's so accessible, dude.
Well, I feel like we went through a phase where everyone talked crap, and they still do, about YouTube, and they're like, oh, you learned something from YouTube. Now I'm like, wait a minute, YouTube is the bomb.
Oh
dude.
my god.
You know, like,
how do you? What a resource to ignore. I've easily learned half of my jiu-jitsu on YouTube.
Yeah.
Easily, just watching matches and watching people teach the moves and.
I have affiliates that
DVDs
I give curriculum to with playlists of YouTube. And
of other people.
We're doing leg drag. It's a mixture. Some of it will be me, some of it's other people. You know, we're doing leg drag or something, and I had this playlist, and I'm like, hey, this is what we're doing. I suggest these one, blah, blah, blah. It's all YouTube based. It's all YouTube based. You know, like I was talking with Carlos Machado yesterday. Like,
YouTube's just video, so.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like that conversation people have about, like, you don't pay the journeyman plumber for 30 years of 30 minutes of fixing your problem. You pay him because he's got 30 years of experience to fix your problem in 30 minutes. You know, it's like the time frame is condensed. You know, like you don't have to learn one move.
Because it would take me a month.
Yeah.
To fix some plumbing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then 50 problems occur. You know? So you can, like, the time frame is short. You get all of their mistakes thrown out, all the trash thrown out. You get the good stuff compressed, and the breakdowns are what is, for me. You know, I don't feel like I learn as well as I do when I see those breakdowns.
Breakdowns with a bomb.
Yeah, for sure. You could see how, and whoever does those, I can't do all that. I don't have the time for it either, bro. They're like circling stuff and typing and voice overlay.
Dude, editing is such hard work. I've tried it just on a couple videos, and like anything creative, you get so critical of yourself anyway. And you're just like, oh, is that hitting the beat, or should I move this? You're like, Jesus. So,
for sure.
Get on Fiverr and.
You said you got your black belt in 2011?
Yeah.
And you ended up joining up with Fight Sports.
Yes.
Cyborg.
Yeah, that's who gave me my black belt.
Your tornado guard you were mentioning made me think of that. How did you link up with Fight Sports, Cyborg, that story?
Yeah, so I had two really good friends in the jiu-jitsu community that were students of his. Jake McKenzie.
That dude's an awesome half guard.
Amazing. And dude, the best person in jiu-jitsu maybe, bro. Seriously, like, he's solid. He's a solid guy. And if any coaches ever get a chance to bring him to your school, I just highly recommend him, man. He teaches such a good seminar. He's so good with your students and really good ambassador for our sport. And Hillary Williams, also super accomplished, great girl in jiu-jitsu. Now she's a doctor, you know, like a neurosurgeon or something. But yeah, they both, whenever I came and opened here with Tony, we were kind of Ronin, you know. And Tony won a regional ADCC qualifier, and he was invited by Pavlo Popovich to go train to help him get ready for Abu Dhabi. So he went down to Florida, Cyborg was there. And so that's how the whole introduction kind of came together, was through Pablo. Just a quick introduction, and then once we got down there, we really just, well, actually Tony went, and then I went later to meet him because he was saying like, hey, Jake and Hilly are thinking maybe suggesting we go down here and train, and I really liked it. So we did, and I was just so impressed as soon as I got to Cyborg school with how all the students really admired him, you know, and really like looked up to him. Not like cultish or anything like that, but just like, and he was humble. He wasn't like a figure head or anything like that, but yeah, the really mutual respect between him to his students and so on. So yeah, we asked him if we could join his team, and he was really accepting, and he's been a pleasure to like work with. I've never had any issues with him the whole time I've been with him.
I don't have too much interaction with it, but doing a tornado guard seminar with him like 5-6 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I got to go to Brazil with him, and
Oh,
I got
cool.
to see a lot of his character down there. And like, man, it pisses me off when I see people talk shit about Cyborg now, because he's so passionate, and he's done a couple of things where he's like not had the best, he hasn't acted like we would all like to act in our best moment maybe a couple times, but his career in the sport is so long, and the amazing things he has done and all his great moments, to me, like, so far outweigh whatever people are talking shit about.
Yeah, I don't know too much. You can say I know he got frustrated with Gordon Ryan. That's about the only
Yeah.
thing that I can think of, to be honest. I would want the guy's autograph if I saw him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you know what's funny about that? So talking about his character, I'm in Brazil with him, and at least 3 times people come up to him, oh, they're speaking in Portuguese, are you Minotauro? And he's like, can I have your autograph? You're Minotauro, right? And he's like, no, my name is Roberto. And he's like, oh, are you a fighter? And he's like, I fight jujitsu. That's my thing. And he's like, oh, can I still have your picture? And no, he's like, of course. You know, he's just the coolest, man, the most humble.
That is funny.
He's not like, oh, you don't know who I am or anything like that. He's just the coolest, man. And you know, I have him here to do a seminar, and kids sometimes will come to the seminar. He'll be out there rolling with the kids like before the seminar shows. So, like I said, I've got a lot of chance to see his character, and that's a big reason I'm still with him.
Yeah, yeah. Do you still make trips out there, or is it he mainly come here now?
He comes here at least once a year, and I go out there. I try to go out there once a year. It's been less often since I've been hurt, you know, since I'm not training as much, because the training over there is porrada all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking intense. So you gotta like do a camp to go there and train, you know?
Yeah, I did a PR tour. Sometimes we do PR tours for AGF. We'll go into like a new city. Me and my partner Chris we hit different cities at times, but then we'll go try and hit like 6 a.m., 9 a.m., noon, 6 p.m. We'll try and hit a bunch. And I went over to Florida. Fight Sports had like pro hour, obviously, right? Like during the day, and it was just a list of names, you know. I think all those
Enrico
guys.
Cook, dude, and so many people you haven't heard about there that are just monsters.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I ran into a couple of other random places too. Oh, my name is Hudson or something. And all of a sudden, oh God, here we go. Full 100%. I feel like the jiu-jitsu in Florida is pretty good, especially in Miami.
Extremely high level.
Yeah.
Extremely.
I just don't think they have the population, but they have a good jiu-jitsu population.
What they don't have is a tournament circuit. They don't have big tournaments going there enough. Like, they put a couple opens there, but there's nothing prestigious to win there. And I mean, it's a 6-hour flight, and a lot of the dudes are just super poor, man. Miami, you know, they're just.
We're doing another tournament there. Mark my words, guys. The first one in Miami, free registration, AGF.
Yeah.
Right? We're doing that in our new markets.
And Fight to Win's been hitting, it's growing. The market there is growing for sure, but a lot of it is still, it's kind of like Texas, you know, it's, as far as getting the big championships. We have plenty of tournaments.
No, I disagree. I don't think it's like Texas. Florida's very hard market and doesn't have as much. Texas is oversaturated. I prefer to do tournaments outside of Texas now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's easier to do a tournament there.
Yeah.
Because they're more hungry for it.
Yeah.
Because the jiu-jitsu scene is strong.
Yeah.
They're really strong.
For sure. And the fight scene. Right?
Absolutely.
ATT's you got Black Zillions, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff down there too.
Absolutely.
The weather's good. Brazilians like the SoCal and Florida weather.
Absolutely.
I'm scared when I go there, bro. As a Cali boy, man, that water is scary. I'm like, there are things in there that are gonna eat me. You know what I mean?
I feel like that in any ocean.
I didn't feel like that at Santa Monica Beach. You ever been to LA?
Yeah.
I don't feel like that in
I do.
No. I was there, so I took my kids there.
Even like a jellyfish or something, dude. I'm not down.
Yeah, I've been stung by jellyfish, but so is my mom. But almost every other day at the beach, you know,
Yeah.
I was stung by one jellyfish my whole life. I moved here when I was like 28 or something, you know. But when I took my kids there and my dad, and we went to Sunny Isles. It's like right above Miami, like between Fort Lauderdale and Miami. We stayed in an Airbnb there while I did the tour, and then we went up to Jacksonville where I ran a tournament. And man, we all thought that there was these dolphins. I was even on the beach telling people, dude, there's dolphins. There's girls like, oh, it's so cute. There's a dolphin, you know. And it's like 15 feet away. And you can see its fins and stuff like that, you know. And they were large. They were like 6 feet, and there was a baby one next to it that was like 3 feet. And everyone like, baby dolphin, people are flocking. There's dudes, goggles on, swimming, looking in the water, you know, stuff like that. And then as you they start cresting and stuff like this, you realize it's not a dolphin. It wasn't a shark. It was a tarpon. You know what tarpons are? They're just giant fish, right? But you could see it had like this giant eyeball that wasn't. It was like a fish eyeball, not a dolphin eyeball, you know. And I was like, "Whoa, not a dolphin, not a dolphin." Don't technically know what it is. I didn't know what it is.
But it's scary.
It's scary, bro.
Yes.
And then, like, you know, one of my black belts, Brock, used to live here. He lives over in Fort Myers, and that's the west coast side of Florida, like Naples and that stuff. And that's like the hammerhead shark capital.
Dude, people love to dive with hammerhead sharks.
Man, I don't know, dude. See, I don't deal with that often in Cali. I mean, yes, you have great whites you hear about once in a great while, or, you know, sand sharks don't do anything to you, you know, but like, I just feel like that there's too many creatures.
My wife was trying to get into scuba diving right now. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to get her into rock climbing with me a little bit, and she's come a couple of times. But she's like, I really want to get into the scuba diving thing. And I'm terrified by it. Of course I'm going to do it with her, but I know it's going to be rad. I know it's going to be rad to get under there and see some stuff, but holy shit. You're not food on the side of a cliff, you know what I mean? Like, no one,
Yeah.
nothing's going to come up out of nowhere and try to take a bite of you.
Yeah.
So it's been a good hobby for me But, you know, scuba would too. The thing is, I look for things now that aren't going to hurt my back. And that's how I got into the rock climbing anyway. It's like, you're typically hanging. You're typically not, you know, having to carry large loads. Sometimes on the approach, you got to carry a pack or whatever. But
Well, being in Texas, besides going to like,
the climbing here sucks.
yeah, but what's it called, Bend or whatever? What's way down
Big
there?
Bend is, man, that's so far.
Yeah.
It's like 8 or 9 hours. And there is climbing there, but it's not super established. I think because it's so remote, no one goes.
Well, so that's the cool thing I've seen. Like, you climbed in China.
Yes.
You climbed, where have you climbed so far?
Man, last year I had such a good year of climbing. I did, here in the States, I went to Joshua Tree, you know? Have you ever been down there?
I don't think I've personally.
It's like a couple hours south of LA.
I mean, I didn't like stay there,
Yeah.
but I know of it.
It's wild, dude. It's wild. That's the desert. It's a wild desert out there. As far as people were going out there to have some fun, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, the climbing was cool out there. We went to, here in Texas, there's Enchanted Rock, and then there's the Wichitas up north. We climb a little bit at Lake Whitney, doing like deep water solo, fall in the water or whatever. Internationally, I got to climb in Australia. Whenever Montana fought in Australia, I got to climb like one of the coolest climbs out there is called the Moai. It's like this, I think it's called Dolomite. I don't know what the rock was called. It's some hard rock, and comes straight out of the ocean for no reason. It doesn't make sense that it's there at all. And there's this little bridge to get over to it, like rock bridge. Nothing man-made out there.
Might be called Dolomites, but because there's Dolomites.
There's Dolomites in
Dolomites in Italia, yeah.
I'm going to climb in Italy this year.
Yeah?
Yeah. So that's
You're gonna go to those ones, the Dolomites?
I don't think so. It's too north. We're looking right now to fly into Rome and then head south to Naples and then to Sicily. That's kind of our plan.
I've actually only been to the north.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I really want to get out to the Dolomites at some time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Dolomites in Italiano.
Yeah.
There's a couple places in Italy I went that was like, Wow, beautiful.
This is what's been cool about rock climbing, because I used to think I traveled, and I did, you know? I traveled, but it was always for jiu-jitsu. And I always say now, it's like, I realized I was going from gym to gym and cafe to cafe, you know? It's like, let's get some coffee, let's go train. That's the same routine everywhere you go. But now I'm really seeing the countryside of these places. Like, I'm out. Like, that place in Australia was so remote, you know what I mean? Like, you had to drive to a remote part of Tasmania, like the southern tip, literally the very southern tip. And then it's like a 3-hour walk to get to this thing. So just getting to see the nature a lot more. Like, same thing in China. We're hanging out on these mountains in Yangshu, which is like some crazy scenery.
Man, I saw the pictures.
The scenery
pictures
so
never
unique.
do justice.
Yeah.
I've traveled a lot too, and pictures never. I was like, man, I bet you it's amazing in person.
So cool.
How did you like China? I mean,
So cool.
It's got definitely.
I had a fucking blast.
Yeah,
I
cool.
had such a good time. I stayed there for 10 days. I spent about $600 that time, and I could have spent way less. You know, some things over there are really pricey.
Yeah.
Because they're illegal. But yeah, I had such a good time in China. Definitely some, you know, what we would think is weirdness about it, but like, people complain about the food a lot. I didn't have that experience at all. I ate good. I loved the food. I loved every meal I had. People were nice and helpful, super helpful. None of our stuff works over there, like none of our apps and stuff. Even with the VPN, I was having trouble, like Google Maps and stuff doesn't work over there. But
How'd you get around
asking for a lot of help. Just, dude,
English
communication was, you know what we would do a lot is, you know the emojis? I would type the word that I needed, like train. I'd be like, where's the train? And I would type it, and then a train emoji would pop up. Because they couldn't read the word train, so I hit the emoji, and they're like, and I don't have internet to do like a translation. So boom, we were translating a lot with like emojis and fucking charades. Charades.
That's cool.
I like got pretty good at charades.
That's part of the adventure, though.
I love it. I loved it, man. Just going to somewhere where you don't speak the language, even if you do speak the language, but it's not your first language. I love that.
Yeah, that's something that, like, I'm about to be 38 next month, and I started traveling, you know, early 2000s. I was going international, and I tell these people today, like, I didn't have Google Maps. I didn't have, like, I had to drive in foreign language signs, and the road signs are not the same. Like, it was.
And you read on some forum that, like, it was supposed to be like this.
Dude, it was so different. Or you had the paper maps.
Yes.
They're like, oh, you want to see further? You need to go to page A5, and then you flip over to that page. You know, like, I think the military helped me with that. Obviously, I could read maps,
Sure.
but it was just an era. You know what I mean? It was still like there was phone booths.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, now it's like it's completely the evolution, even of the phones have changed. Like, when I first started going overseas, it would be like my phone didn't work at all, and there was not even text message or FaceTime or anything. I saw that in the military a lot sooner. I remember when I had a satellite phone that I basically FaceTimed with a colonel, and then like text messages and pictures started coming into phones, and I was like, watch, we're gonna be able to talk to each other soon. You know, the technology sometimes comes a decade or so earlier in the military. But anyways, and so like not being able to have the technology to get around, people had to think more. You had to be more proactive. You had to pay attention. I don't even know where I'm going. Like, sometimes I'll drive somewhere, and my lady will be like, you don't know where we're going? We've been going there for 2 years. And I'm like, well, you always drive there, and I'm always sitting, like, I don't, or I just watch my GPS. I'm not even actually paying attention that it's at this exit.
Like, turn left. Okay.
Yeah. Now we're zombies, or robots, I guess you should say. Well, currently going on, you guys can't see this, but to the left of us is
A little domestic violence.
Domestic violence, yes. We have Montana and Mark De La Rosa, who are the first married couple in the UFC.
Yes, and they're fighting February 15th out in Rio Rancho, New Mexico.
They'll be the first married couple to fight on the same card.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going out there, do a little rock climbing beforehand.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I got my van full on dirt bag mode. Go out there and climb for a few days and then go watch them. Man, I'm so excited to watch them perform.
So, tell us a little bit about that. I mean, Mark is homegrown from here. I know that.
Yes. Yeah. Mark is...
Montana's been wrestling since she was a kid.
Yep. Yeah, they're just... stellar people, hardworking people. It's been a pleasure to watch come up. Mark joined here when he was 15, and he was 100. I always tell people he was a 195-pound little chubby Mexican kid.
Really?
But he could move. He had boxed
Yeah.
quite a bit before here, so he always had like good footwork and cardio. Even at 180 pounds, he would put people like test their gas tanks, and it was crazy. But now he's like
Now he fights
a
at
stellar athlete. He
fights
fights at 125.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a completely like different athlete. And Montana,
Is she 125? What is she?
115.
Oh, 115.
Yeah, so she's just like come
And
so
I mean,
far.
you guys can't see it, but they're training together right now. Like they're wall fighting. You know, like what a couple that is, right?
Yeah, no, it's uncomfortable to watch them train sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it is for me. I'm just like, wow, because they get after it a little bit. You
They
know?
got to, yeah.
They have to, exactly. But because they're a couple. Like, you don't care if you watch two guys get after it or whatever, but like because they're a couple, like, are they gonna be cool later? But they are. They always are.
Now he's a black belt. What's Montana's rank?
Brown belt right now.
Cool.
Yeah. And Mark actually promotes her, so I kind of stay hands off on that. You know, like,
It's family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's cool like that.
Yeah, for sure. No one else is. I mean, I let some of my black belts intentionally stripe my son just to like have some of my other black belt, but I'm belting him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, don't belt him.
For sure.
And now they're going strong in the UFC.
Yeah.
Big plans. So tell us a
Yeah,
little bit
they're
about your what you're doing here. I know you got an affiliate.
Yeah. As far as what we're doing at Genesis, we got Karen Kovac. She's an affiliate in Azle. Stellar female jiu-jitsu practitioner, world champion at every belt, masters world champion at every belt except black belt yet. She got to the finals this last year, but so she got silver. And then we got Randy Villarreal down in Burleson, running the gym in Burleson, and he's still active, fighting. He just come off of a win at Fury.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, submission victory.
Turned his back. I was
Yeah.
like, why would you turn your back to a black belt?
Yeah.
Choked him.
So, yeah, those guys are killing it out there. Here at headquarters, we're in River Oaks, and we've been here for 10 years. About 2 years ago, I bought a piece of land that's just up the road. If you drive this way, it's an empty lot next to Chicken Express. 5400 River Oaks Boulevard will be the new home of Genesis. I think we'll be able to start building it by the end of the year. I'm really just like putting money toward that project. The bank wants me to have a certain amount of equity, you know, to fund the construction.
Yeah.
So I'm just dumping money into that project, and yeah, I think we'll be able to move in there early next year. So
What's your
that's
plans
kind
with
of
that
the vision here.
facility?
Same as this one, just to own it, you know. But basically, we're gonna have, you know, it's gonna be 5,500 square feet. We're gonna have over 2,000 feet of a main mat space. We're gonna have a larger MMA training area, as MMA over here, you know, like we just have guys going into that more and more. And yeah, we're gonna have it's gonna have a little upstairs. I already have the whole design and everything. It's pretty exciting. It's gonna have a little upstairs area for people to sit and watch down over the mats. So
That's cool.
yeah, a couple extra showers. Just overall, just, you know, a nicer, newer facility. You know,
Yeah.
This building I think was in the 50s or 40s. It was put up. So
Oh, well, yeah.
we've done some renovations here.
I didn't realize. So you've been in this spot for 10 years.
We've been in this spot 8 years.
8.
And we started in this same building down the sidewalk, just
okay.
a little bit.
Yeah.
We're in a big strip mall right here, so yeah, we started over there. We're there for 2 years, and then moved over here. And then we didn't own this space that they're training in right now. It was just some empty space behind the salon, and then we asked to punch through and get a little extra space there.
That's cool. You guys have same classes going on at the same time?
Yeah, a lot of times the MMA side, so they'll be doing like boxing or Muay Thai or wrestling or some MMA specific stuff in there while we're doing jiu-jitsu here.
So tell me about your jiu-jitsu program here. I mean, you like 6 a.m., noon, like all night? Like
6:30 a.m., 11:30 a.m., and 6:30 p.m. for adults. And then we have 5 and 5:45 p.m. for kids. And then we have classes on the weekends as well. We're open every day.
I hear about the culture here. I hear a lot of good compliments. I don't know how to describe it. I'm not in it, so like, you know, but I know a lot of people. Obviously, Genesis competes at AGF, and I run into I live locally here, you know, so like I run into all kinds of people on West 7th and just all that kind of stuff. From MMA fighters, jiu-jitsu people to moms, like I always hear it's a really good culture over here, really good environment. Everyone totally compliments you, and it seems like it's a good jam you got going on over here. People go out together at night, like all that kind of stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a dad, so if they're doing that, I'm not with them.
Well, that's what I said. I'll run into people on West 7th.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I am a dad too, but that's the babysitter time.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's the thing I'm most proud of here, actually, is the culture. Like, I'm super proud of Mark in Montana. We've produced some Masters world champions in gi and no gi, and, you know, I'm super proud of that. But I am most proud of, like, how welcoming the culture is here. I know a lot of jiu-jitsu schools are super welcoming. I think overall the jiu-jitsu community is amazing, you know? I'm not saying that what we have here is, like, better or different than anywhere else, but I'm just proud that I know that if you come here and you're intimidated to start jiu-jitsu and you're, you know, just really reluctant and shy to get started, that this is going to be an easy place for you to do that at, you know, because as soon as you walk in, we're going to say hello to you, greet you. I'm going to put you on the mat with somebody that has some experience, and he's going to be willing to sacrifice his time. That's a lot of beginners don't want to hold people back. You hear that, I'm sure. Like, oh, I don't want to hold anybody in the class back. I don't know if I should be out there. These guys all look like they're really experienced. But our guys don't have a problem.
So you prefer to put beginners with experienced people first?
Yeah. I call it blind leading the blind when I have my white belts paired up together. Now, sometimes it just happens. You have so many white belts, that's what happens. But if I have experienced people who are willing to sacrifice their time, I do. Now, if I have a guy that's like got a competition coming up, or I know that he's just like in this mindset to really work on his own game, then I wouldn't ask him to do that. I would leave him paired up with another advanced guy.
You talking about drilling? You talking about rolling?
Drilling.
Oh, okay.
Drilling and rolling. It really depends on the person, man. That's the thing with, like, when should people start rolling, right?
That's a big. The longer that I've been a black belt, the longer that I have taught, that's one of my biggest question marks and, like, things that that's why I asked you, you know, like, what do you know, like, I ask other people, like, you know, some people are real big on beginner and advanced. Some people are big on not letting white belts roll for 25 classes or, you know.
I think you have to take it case by case, and that's what we do here. Because you might have a guy come in, he's like, oh, I grew up with 3 brothers and I wrestled in high school. You can roll the first day. You're ready to go, right? Or somebody comes in, they're like, oh, I've never played any sports. And you can tell they're not fit. You can tell they haven't done anything athletics. Like, I don't want you to roll for a while, you know? Especially if you seem timid about it. The last thing I want to do is let somebody just cross-face you. I don't want that. I want you to probably, it could be, I always tell people, man, you can roll whenever you're ready. It could be a week, it could be months. You just roll when you're ready, and I let people here work at their own pace. I encourage people to do, we split it up where the first part of class is all drilling, and the last part of class, or is all instruction, and the last part of class is basically no instruction. It's just a little bit of coaching as you're live rolling. But, the beginner, everybody can do the fundamentals. They can get out there and learn it's like classroom setting and just drilling, going through some motions. And for some people, that's a little bit of a workout, depending on where you're starting at. And then the rest of the class, there's going to be no instruction. So it's just like, if you're ready to just go out there and just kind of scrap and just try to survive, try to roll, whatever. Whenever you're ready to do that, you can do it. And if you just do it for 5 minutes and you're like, nah, that was too much, I want to sit out and watch again, that's cool. You can sit out and watch. That's kind of my culture. And I know when I started the gym, I was, 25 years old. So I was like, get out here, let's go. You can do it. Pushing people.
Yes, I admit that I'm wrong. When I was in my 20s, I was like, roar the whole time. Get out there. Don't be no rounds off. Quick, go, keep going. Blah blah blah. Like,
push it. Let's go.
I think I probably lost students because of it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, and you put in like monetarily that's bad or whatever as a business owner, but that's bad because we're pushing people away from jiu-jitsu. And that's what I realized is like, if I make somebody roll here and he's not ready to roll, he's just gonna be like, fuck that. It's not for me.
Well, I would get people that would like, pop a rib.
Yes, because
like,
they're not conditioned for it.
Yeah.
Popping ribs is common.
Yeah.
Because you come in, you got no core strength, you got those intercostal muscles are just like not doing their job.
People doing knee on belly.
And then you try to twist and like, that's a really common one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned that most of the injuries that I have been on the mat as a coach happened when I think also because I was teaching at Brown and I was on the warpath for black.
Yeah.
So I was in my own mentality too, but then also as a coach, I felt like I was,
Any competitors on that?
When I first started coaching, a lot of people, what they do, they want to prove their legitimacy by having their students win in tournaments too. Like my school can place or whatever, and so then it's like the whole school's like, oh, and they do this, you get into that, and then you got a new guy that walks through the door, and you're like, well, welcome to the war room, and I don't like to do that anymore.
That was the mentality when I started jiu-jitsu. It's like, okay, you're in a lion's den, see if you can survive. Like, no one's trying to make you better. Like, you had to physically, can you please show me something after everyone was done rolling, and maybe a guy would be nice enough to do it, you know? And they wouldn't really be nice enough to do it until you were there for 3, 4, 6 months, and like you had earned some respect, right?
I still don't remember people's names.
Yeah.
I got to get better at that.
I'm pretty good at that.
Are you
I
good
pride
at that?
myself in that. I think that's one of the things that helps our culture here.
Yeah.
Is because it is personal, because I really make an effort to learn these people's names.
Well, selling my location in the Dallas area and then going AGF full time, I still teach at my headquarters where most of my black belts are at in Fitness Fight Factory, but I'm there, like, I officially am on the teaching schedule on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I don't get
You're
people
going to know
all
the
time.
Tuesday people.
Yeah, exactly. And then the advanced classes, all the guys that I promoted anyways,
Sure.
or back in the day or whatever. And so, but yeah, that is a reason that I fail at that. So that's good. I mean, so there's some good knowledge in there. So that's one of the reasons you think you're successful, is like trying to be personable, getting to know everyone's name, because it's a running joke in jiu-jitsu. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name till 2 years in. I still got nicknames. I call this one guy named Rico. I just learned his name is Daniel. I mean, I already gave him his blue belt. His name is Daniel, but he's Puerto Rican, so we call him Rico. It's kind of, we got that from the Army, though. We got the nicknames.
I love nicknames. But yeah, I just make a little effort. I don't know everybody's name for sure, even on my own team, but if they're in my class coming with any consistency whatsoever, or if I hear about them being consistent and that they're doing well, then I'm going to make an effort, try to learn their name.
Are you teaching classes daily every single day?
I teach Monday and Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday?
Sometimes I teach Wednesday night, but I'm basically getting ready to relinquish that one to one of my black belts, Jason Bright. So, yeah, I'm only teaching a couple days a week. A lot of my focus right now, I like to come in even when I'm not teaching and give some coaching, especially during live rolling. But a lot of it's on, programming it, making sure that all the classes are being taught well, and I like what's going on.
You tell them what to teach?
Not always, but oftentimes I do try to suggest, because I'll kind of set the pace Monday and Tuesday, like, all right, we're working daily Hiva and we're working these couple sweeps. And if you have other options from daily Hiva that can work into this, then feel free to teach it. But let's not teach fucking butterfly guard this week. Like, let's stay on the daily Hiva path. Or, if we're passing, I'll try to keep everybody on the same page of passing. Just a theme, basically. So, because we have guys that cross-train, they'll be in different coaches' classes. And I don't want them coming in just seeing, like, guard passing from one guy, and then guillotines from one guy, and then heel hooks from another guy. I feel like 3 classes drilling the same thing would be more beneficial usually. Yeah.
We do 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Same
I'm on my 3rd
matter.
week of daily Hiva.
Yeah. Those subjects.
You could be there for a year.
Yeah, for sure. Some of those subjects, the more complicated ones, like if you're doing Uba from guard or something, that's different. But like the complicated guards can definitely.
Where there's this that happens and this that happens. They lean forward.
The grips, for sure.
One thing I wanted to say before we end, we're just going kind of long,
Yeah, we're all right. But
is I had people asking me stuff like, what do y'all want me to talk about, right?
Oh yeah,
on
for sure.
Facebook and the Instagram. So I wanted to cover some of those, because especially this one dude, when I started rock climbing, I was getting really competitive, like in jiu-jitsu, right? They have the grades. People probably aren't too familiar, but when you get into, like if you're going on a hike, they'll call it like 3rd class or 4th class. If it's really steep and rocky, it might be 4th class terrain. Rock climbing deals with 5th class terrain where you need a rope. It's so vertical that you need a rope to be safe. And so from there it goes like 5, 7 is like a pretty easy climb. I think anybody almost with any jiu-jitsu person can do a 5-7 climb. 5, 8, 5, 9, 5, 10, and it goes up, you know? And so I was like chasing these grades, like, all right, I'm climbing 510s, I want to get 511, started climbing 511, really want to get 512, hitting a plateau, really hard to get to 512. And then one of my friends was just like, dude, the best climber in the world is the one that's having the most fun. And that quote, like, helped me so much to take a step back and be like, fucking A. And now I always say I don't climb for the grades, I climb for the views. Like if it's got a sick view up top, I don't care if it's easy. If I'm climbing for the experience and not necessarily to push and do the hardest thing ever. Yeah. It's already fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to do the most physical, intense thing up there. I like to find that. I think it's like that in jiu-jitsu. Like it's not necessarily the most fun to roll with the best world champion out there because you're just going to get fucking mauled. And it's also not fun necessarily to roll with the guy on his first day because he's spazzing and you can just maul him. It's really fun to find that challenge.
Yeah.
Like to roll with a really good purple belt or a brown belt that you should be able to win, but you got to try hard. That's like a really fun roll, right?
I like the ones where I laugh when we sweep each other.
Yeah.
We're like, oh,
yeah,
you got me.
Sure. Yeah, anytime. That's a good culture.
Yeah,
to have
for sure.
But yeah, so I tell that to my guys in jiu-jitsu now. You know, I'm like, hey, the best jiu-jitsu practitioner is the one that's having the most fun. If you're coming in here and you're a killer, but like you're going home and beating yourself up about this or that, and I know that road can lead to improvement. So if your goal is to be a world champion, you're probably going to get to some dark places like that, and you're going to have to go down. You're going to have to be hard on yourself sometimes. But most of us are not going to be world champions. We shouldn't even be trying. That should not be the goal. It's too talked about in jiu-jitsu. Like everybody's like, oh, I got to win this thing.
And just like the MMA and the UFC and just like jiu-jitsu, the bigger it gets, the harder it's going to be.
Oh, Jesus.
The more people that there is.
Because everybody has success at white and blue belt.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, dude, I'm fucking killing this thing. Maybe this jiu-jitsu thing will work for me. And then you get to just even purple belt, and you're like, this is getting harder.
Open up my GoFundMe.
And then, yeah, because you know you're going to need to be full-time to be competitive. And then you're like, oh, no one's going to support this shit. And then, yeah, by the time you get to black belt, most people don't compete, you know?
That is kind of a trip, you know?
Yeah, it's because the sacrifice to have the success at black belt is insanely high. Especially today, it's more than it was when I got my black belt.
I think even at the regional tournament level, like I've never been a avid competitor. I compete like 2-3 times a year.
Yeah. And
usually it's as soon as I'm healthy. Like I just got off bursitis for 4 months on my knee, you know, and I'm like, I'm registering for the first tournament in the next month that I can because I might hurt my back. I might hurt, I'm getting older. But so like, and I do it for my students. I do it for myself once in a while, but I know that the kids or the adults sometimes, even my black belts, they're like, yeah, coach is doing it.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's cool.
Because as soon as you don't for a year or two, we already get tossed in the category of he doesn't compete. And I'm like, wait a minute. I've been here for 20 years, Yeah. But anyhow, so it's definitely like I've noticed that like they go on the warpath, and then all of a sudden, they hit the brakes.
Because in jiu-jitsu, we don't have off seasons.
True, but
this is a hard thing to keep up with for a long time.
I feel like people compete a lot, and then they get to black belt and they don't.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Well, because that fucking happens, man. Because every other level besides black belt is amateur hour. It's true, and yes, purple belt is tough, brown belt is tough. Like you're gonna have tough matches. But it's amateur hour compared to black belt. When you show up to black belt, if you are not training seriously all the time, like it doesn't matter even if you have a lot of skills. If your blade is not sharp, you're not going to have good results.
That's why I didn't register for January. I've been back for like 2-3 weeks since my bursitis, and I'm like, my timing is off.
See,
I'm like stutter stepping.
And now, like with my injury, when I came back from it, I was like, all right, I'm still going to try to get back. And I felt so much hesitation. And then the risk of re-injury, for me, I got to that point to where I was like, they can throw me in the non-competing category. I don't give a fuck. Like, I feel like I've done whatever my body will let me do, and now I want to be able to play with my kids.
Barring injury, though.
Yeah.
Injury.
If I'm healthy, I'm competing.
Yeah, like that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The people that have no excuses, you know? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this sport, the culture in jiu-jitsu, especially if you're going to be teaching, is you need to be
There's
proving
always
yourself.
that conversation about, like, you know, would you promote people, or would you believe in people not, you know, not never competing?
Let's
that
talk
kind of
about
stuff.
promotions, man. Like, I have a view on that too. Like, and
You
I'm
have
sure,
more. You have more on your phone that you need to talk about.
man, let me.
I didn't want to not
Let me
talk
see
about.
that. This motherfucker said, "Talk." I can't even. This isn't even English. I'm gonna read it to everybody. Talk about having deep hole as a section and whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze over something closer to the kitchen like 2 across.
I don't. I'm not tracking.
Yeah. Balancing training and being a parent. Like I mentioned, I'm training a lot less now, but yeah, you just gotta time block, man. You gotta train when they're at school or when they're at daycare, or you gotta. I see parents set them down. Sometimes they bring them here, and sometimes you gotta hand them the phone while you're rolling. And I'm not judging anybody for that, dude. I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, you hand your kid a phone. Like, we limit screen time and stuff, but like, if you got business to take care of, and like, give them the phone for an hour and get that business done, and then go hang out with them the rest of the day. So if you want it to happen, you'll make it happen, as far as parents being able to train. Like Mr. Jiu-Jitsu says. When and where can we listen?
To this, I'll upload this to YouTube. I'm gonna space them out because I want to give each of you guys, you know,
Yeah.
proper. So like within a week, we'll have this completely uploaded and on iTunes and YouTube uploaded. You know, like I said, I did Carlos yesterday, Machado, so I'll release his first, and then you're next. Tomorrow I'm recording Will's. Even though I record them right next to each other, I space out the release a little bit. That way you guys can also promote it, and I don't want it drowned out.
Yeah.
You know, but as I get busier, who knows, man? We might do it more often.
How you started your jiu-jitsu career and when you realized you wanted to pursue it as a business. Yeah, we talked about my start. I realized I wanted to pursue it as a business when basically I saw that it was a business. And I was like, oh, you can make money doing this. And you don't have to have a real job. Because, like, the thing I was passionate about before jiu-jitsu was basketball. And that's hard. If you can't play at a high level, it's hard to have a career in it. And if you do, it's probably going to be a coach at a school teaching other classes. And I didn't want to be a teacher, you know? Like, I am a teacher, but I didn't want to be teaching, like, physics or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically as soon as I realized it was a business, that planted a seed. And I really started looking at my training like college. And I started thinking, like, in 5 or 6 years, I'm going to make this my career. So that was kind of, I got that vision pretty early, I guess.
What about promotions? I like.
Oh, yeah.
That's always I talked to a couple people about that recently, and it's always good to get people's opinion on that. What's your vision? What's your criteria? What's your idea on that?
Okay, man, if you're a 20-year-old, very competitive blue belt, say you're 190 pounds, 20-year-old competitive blue belt, right? I have black belts that you could come and tap, and I am cool with that. I'm fine with that. They're 50 years old. They have been raising their kids for the last 20 years, training just whenever they could, you know what I mean? They've dealt with surgeries, and their body is beaten up, and like, if someone starts training at 40 years old, and they have 2 kids and a career and a wife to take care of, they are never going to reach the level that someone that starts when they're 15 is going to reach by the time they're 21.
Yeah.
That 15-year-old will get better, more skilled in 6 years than that 40-year-old will by the time he's 55. Because they can train every day, twice, 3 times a day. Your body can just handle it.
Yeah.
You know, your body can just handle all the training you can give it. It can handle it. And you have no other big responsibilities like paying bills and feeding kids and stuff like this. It's like you're looking at YouTube and you're watching tournaments all the time. You're walking around like this watching, your favorite person grapple all the time. And then you're like showing up to class an hour early and staying an hour late and grabbing a partner and saying, hey, let's work this, let's work this, let's work this. Whereas the guy that's 40 is just trying to make it through class twice a week.
Yeah.
So, but I believe that guy still deserves a black belt. If he trains for 10 or 15 years consistently, I think that they deserve to be awarded with their black belt.
Do you have a certain criteria for
Basically,
blue, for purple, or anything like that, or is it
Man, not like a hard one, not like a curriculum, not like a written one. It's really case by case. I take the young guys that are showing me that they want to be competitive, and I put them where I think they should be at a competitive level. If I think that they can have success at purple belt, I put them there. If I think they're crushing everybody at purple belt, put them in brown belt. Or if I think they've been at purple belt a long time and it's time to test out brown belt anyway, because maybe the problem isn't the time or the skill that's not giving them the result. Maybe it's a mental block, a self-confidence issue or something like that anyway. So, more time might not heal that. But if you're coming in and, like I said, if you're a career guy or if you're a mom and you're trying to, train and still be the best mom you can be, and doing jiu-jitsu is like your fourth priority in life,
Yeah.
then
Exactly.
as it should be.
Yeah.
By the time you're a mom, probably shouldn't be your number one priority, whereas a
Yeah.
15-year-old's like, I gotta think about anything else, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or even a 19, 20-year-old, they're like fucking just struggling to get through their shift. They're watching jiu-jitsu at work,
Yeah.
and then just, trying to make this happen. But yeah, I have a different criteria. It's just case by case. If you're not coming and training consistently, you're never going to get promoted here. Consistency is really the thing.
That's for sure key. Yeah.
That's really the thing. But if you are showing up and I see that you're trying, but I know that, hey, you're a lawyer and you have 5 kids. This is a perfect example. I have a guy, he's a lawyer, he has 5 kids, he's 50-something. He does not have time to study jiu-jitsu off the mat, dude. He gets what he can get when he's here. He's here 2 to 3 days a week. He spends 2 or 3 or 4 years at every belt.
Yeah.
He gets promoted slower, but he's absolutely going to get promoted.
Yeah. I only have a curriculum for gray now, because it used to just be yellow in the first kids belt, but for gray and for blue.
Yeah.
Just so that they have the
reasonable
fundamentals. So there's no and then for me, I feel like it gives a lot of beginners guidance and a path, because a lot of times they're just like,
for sure,
what do I do, or I'm getting crushed from here, and I'm like, look, dude, you're like, here's a chart, I've even got it blown up at one of my schools, and
I can see that being super
purple
helpful.
and brown. I see other people, and I'm not knocking them. I've learned to really step back my opinion as I got older about how, about other people, how they do their jam.
Yeah.
I see other people, for example, you need to know 4 sweeps and 4 passes
Yeah.
and blah blah blah. And there's belt testing and there's this and that. Now part of me agrees with belt testing, and I'm not just talking is there a money grab machine out of that? Of course there can be. Is there the fact that maybe I don't have a school with 20 students and I know every part of everyone's game? Maybe I have a school that has 400 students and I'm a baller, but I don't know everybody's exact game. So when I do testing, I can see the general,
There's benefits.
There's so many different versions of it, but it's really just the online haters that really get involved, and I'm way less passionate about.
Cyborg does testing now, and he has a green belt, which I think.
I still struggle with that, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not going to do it at my school, but I see that there is some benefit to it. Sure, like you said, could be a money grab. You could argue that it's for those reasons, but it keeps people a little bit more motivated. Not everyone's going to set their own goal and carve out a path or a plan to achieve that goal. And so that's kind of what that is doing for them. But here's the goal, and then here's a path that you can take to get it. So that is nice. I think that after blue belt, though,
for me, the only thing I don't like about the green belt,
where do they compete?
No, not well. Yeah, that's a problem for AGF. I don't like that, because I feel like if you got color, you're not a white belt.
Yeah.
But so that's a logistics thing. That's not my major riff with it. My major riff is you don't get a teenage green belt from me unless you are a gangster.
Yeah, you're gonna be like a purple belt almost.
Yeah, most of my when I was with Bruno Bastos, he would tell me like, and I've been to Brazil. Like sometimes the greens line up in front of the whites in Brazil. Sometimes they're like you said, they are tapping purples and like all that kind of stuff. You know, today's green belts are like 10 years ago's black belts for sure. You know, but for me though, like that's what it is I have a very small population of people that I have given green belt out to, and most of them are black belts now.
Yeah.
I have like.
If you make it the green belt, you're gonna make it the black belt.
I think I have like 15 green belts that I've given out in like 12 years of teaching in Texas. You know what I mean? And like 10 of them are black belts. You know what I mean? Or a brown belt, they're just not old enough yet or something, you know, something like that. They're on the warpath though. That's my thing. I was like, man, pick a different color. That was my only thing.
Oh, like, that's a good, I didn't even realize that it was the same as the
Make
kids.
it aquamarine, lighter than blue.
Yeah.
Something, make it something that I don't know.
I didn't even realize it was the same as the kids, but you're right, man. You're right, because a green belt kid has been training for 8 or 9 years sometimes.
I would have less of a riff with it if it was an adult gray or yellow, or adult orange. But the green is like coveted. It's like a kid's black belt.
Word, it is.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was my only thing.
Green belts are like purple belt skill level at least a lot of times.
For sure, yeah. Depends on. Some of them are ninjas, but yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, that's about it on time, bro. We took a long time. That's good, though. That's what it's here. Guys are here to hear us chit-chat.
Pleasure to shoot the shit a little bit, man.
Yeah, stop in. You got any website, Instagram, sponsor, any kind of stuff like that you want to shout out to? Or
No, if you're interested and want to see what I'm up to, Coach Burt BJJ on Instagram, Albert Hughes on Facebook. These days, I'm mostly... post a little bit about jiu-jitsu in the gym here, what our guys are doing, a little bit about my kids sometimes. I don't go crazy with the kids stuff.
You got one or two?
I got two. I got a 4-year-old boy. He's 4.5. I'm working on getting him in here. He's always like, Daddy, I'll do it when I'm 6. Which I'm fine. Like, my view on that, too, if anyone's interested, is I want my kids to do jiu-jitsu on their own, hopefully, but I absolutely will make them if it comes to that. I think by the time they're 9 or 10, it'll just be like a thing we have to do just like school. Like, hey, we go to jiu-jitsu after school, let's go. I feel a big responsibility to give them the confidence that jiu-jitsu gave me, and to be a black belt and to have a school and to have it at my disposal to make sure that they have those skills. I think that they would resent me if I didn't teach them somehow. And I
want, not just confidence. I'm worried about self-defense.
Self-defense too. But yeah, I absolutely will force my kids to train. But I think that it'll happen organically. I'm hopeful that it will happen organically. My son likes to wrestle with me and stuff, and I think it's going to happen just fine.
How old's the older one?
4.5.
Oh, so the younger one is
1.
Oh, brand new. Okay, yeah.
Brand new.
Are you sleeping yet?
We're so blessed, man. My wife did like the sleep training thing, and
so
honestly, I've never. There's been like I could count on my hands how many nights were a struggle.
Yeah, mine were sleeping through the night at 10 weeks.
Yeah.
We had to do that, and it is a little bit selfish because at that time, my kids are 8 and 10 now. I have a 14-year-old in Montana, but my daily kids here in Texas are 8 and 10, and 10 years ago, I was full swing, teaching every day, training 3 times a day, all that kind of stuff, and my sleep was highly valuable, and I didn't want to be a zombie all day and just be worthless, and so it was important that we got the kids on that schedule.
Yes. Yeah, for us and for them, they're a lot happier and easier to deal with if they got a good night's sleep.
Yep.
But that's where if you're interested, probably the most interesting thing you're going to see on there these days is some rock climbing shots. So if you want to see me up in the mountains, then I'm posting some stuff like that. And if I just find something ridiculous every now and then, I'll post a video on my story about something. But
there you go.
Just come to Genesis and train. If I know you, especially been jiu-jitsu in Texas a long time. A lot of guys from Houston and Austin and San Antonio. If y'all are ever up this way and want to visit and want to train, just let me know, man. It's unlikely that you'll drop in and I'll just be training, but I always make time to catch up and train with an old friend. So
Rock and roll. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right.